U.S. sanctions taking their toll on Iran's economy. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, warning annual inflation in Iran could reach 40%. Some say 50% or even higher if oil exports continue to fall. So why should this matter to you at home? And what does it mean to Iran at home? Joining us now is Mark Dubowitz. He's an advisor to the Trump administration on Iran's issues and CEO of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. So for the second straight year, contraction with Iran's economy after a boom in 2016. What's our goal?
Brian, the goal is a maximum pressure campaign, and the Trump administration deserves enormous credit for finally looking to deny this regime in Iran the resources it needs to fund its terrorism, ballistic missile program, nuclear program, and bring it back to the table to negotiate a follow-on agreement. President Trump withdrew from the Iran deal a year ago, and he was right to do so. It was a fatally flawed agreement that gave Iran patient pathways to nuclear weapons.
So now we gave waivers to certain countries who are allies and say, we're going to give you a little bit of time to stop buying goods and especially oil from Iran. And it looks like Japan, China, and I understand China as well as India will comply. Do you understand the same thing?
I believe so, Brian. I mean, there's no way that these countries and their refineries and their banks are going to risk being cut off from the U.S. market. So they've got a little bit of time to get to zero, and in doing so, that will cut off Iran's major source of export earnings and continue to intensify the economic crisis.
I think you'll agree if you could deny Hamas and Hezbollah funds, you're successful in getting a message to Iran, because the people of Iran need that money and they're giving it to terror organizations. It looks like there's basically donation boxes for Hezbollah all throughout Lebanon because they say we need donations because Iran's money's been cut off. But here's the fear. When you deny Iran a outreach to the West, which we're pushing back on, they say it elevates their hardliners. What do you say to that?
There are no hardliners or reformists in the regime in Iran. There's no distinction. There are hardliners and hardliners, and they're all united in their objective to undermine U.S. national security, to wreak havoc across the Middle East, to build nuclear weapons and the missiles to deliver them. So this notion that somehow we're dealing with reformers or moderates in this regime is a delusion, and it's an unfortunate delusion that the Obama administration had and President Trump and his administration do not have.
So from here, we hope the screws get tightened. But the problem is with these dictatorships, they don't care about their people. They only care about their government and staying in power. How do we not hurt the Iranian people more?
Well, ultimately, look, sanctions are going to hurt the Iranian people, but the Iranian people are responding by not attacking the United States, but by attacking their own regime. There have been protests on the street since December 2017, thousands of protests, and they're on the street yelling, "Death to the dictator, death to the supreme leader." Why are you spending your money funding Hezbollah and Hamas and sending the money to the Palestinians instead of spending the money on Iranians? So I think we're getting the Iranians on our side. They understand after 40 years of brutality and repression that they want to get rid of this regime, and I think anything we can do to help bring democracy and freedom to Iran can only help U.S. national security.
And, of course, that makes Israel safer and Saudi Arabia happy. Mark Dubowitz, thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Brian.